Welcome to Honorable Podcast. Today we will continue from where we stopped on our last post. We've talked about persistence. We've talked about staying in the process. We've talked about surviving the difficult middle. But now we have to answer one of the most important questions of this entire conversation. What exactly is your one more? Because one more doesn't mean doing everything. It means identifying the one action that creates momentum in every other area of your life. Too many people wake up overwhelmed. They have 10 goals, 20 unfinished projects, and hundreds of distractions. They are busy every day, but somehow never feel like they're moving forward. Being busy is not the same as making progress. Progress comes from knowing what matters most right now. This is one of the biggest misconceptions about success. Successful people aren't necessarily doing more than everyone else. In many cases, they're doing fewer things, but they're doing the right things consistently. Think of your life like a ship in the middle of the ocean. If the captain changes the course by only 1 degree, the ship doesn't look different after 5 minutes. It barely looks different after an hour. But after weeks or months, that 1 degree adjustment leads to an entirely different destination. Life works the same way. One intentional decision today can completely alter where you are 5 years from now. The challenge is that most people underestimate small changes because they overestimate dramatic moments. Let me ask everyone listening a difficult question. When was the last time you sat in complete silence and asked yourself, what kind of life do I actually want? Not what your parents wanted, not what society expects, not what looks impressive on social media, not what your friends think success should look like, your life, your values, your calling. Many people never ask themselves these questions. That's so true. Why do you think that is? Fear, maybe. Instead, they spend years chasing someone else's definition of success. And one day they arrive at a destination they never truly wanted. Psychologists often distinguish between extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation. Right. So what drives us? Extrinsic motivation comes from external rewards, money, status, praise, recognition, titles. Intrinsic motivation comes from within, curiosity, purpose, growth, service, personal fulfillment. External rewards can be valuable, but they don't always sustain you through difficult seasons. That's why it's important to know why you're pursuing a goal, not just what the goal is. Absolutely, that makes sense. Imagine walking onto 2 construction sites. You ask the first builder, "What are you doing?" He replies, "I'm laying bricks." Interesting. You ask the second builder the same question. He smiles and says, "I'm helping build a hospital where children will receive life-saving treatment." But one sees a vision and the other sees a task. Purpose changes how you experience the work. When you connect your daily actions to a meaningful purpose, even ordinary tasks gain significance. Purpose doesn't remove difficulty. It gives difficulty meaning, and people can endure far more hardship when they understand why it matters. One statement from today's discussion deserves deeper reflection. Don't discount your own greatness. That's powerful. Many people hear that and immediately think, I'm not great. But perhaps greatness has been misunderstood. Greatness isn't reserved for celebrities, CEOs, athletes, or public figures. Greatness is fully developing the gifts you've been given and using them to improve the lives of others. I agree, it's about impact. Some people have a gift for teaching. Others solve problems. Some comfort people. Others build businesses. Some create art. Others inspire hope. Some organize chaos. Others lead teams. The question isn't whether you have a gift. The question is whether you've been developing it or hiding it. One of the greatest tragedies isn't lacking talent. It's possessing talent that never gets developed. Talent without discipline becomes wasted potential. Potential without action remains imagination. Dreams without consistent effort become lifelong regrets. So why do people hide what they're capable of? Usually because of fear. Fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of comparison, fear of success, or fear of disappointing themselves. Sometimes we convince ourselves we're being realistic, when in reality we're simply protecting ourselves from discomfort. Here's an important distinction. Confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence grows because of action. Exactly. People often say, I'll start when I feel confident. But confidence is earned. Every difficult conversation you have, every presentation you complete, every new skill you learn, every setback you recover from. Each one becomes evidence that you can handle more than you thought. That's how confidence is built. If you're listening, grab a notebook, draw 3 circles. Circle 1, what am I naturally good at? Think about abilities people often compliment you on. What comes naturally to you that seems difficult for others? That's a good question. Circle 2, what do I genuinely enjoy doing? Not what pays the most, not what gets the most attention. What activities make you lose track of time? What conversations energize you? Writing does that for me, and deep, meaningful conversation. Circle 3, how can these abilities help someone else? Because lasting purpose usually exists where your strengths meet someone else's needs. Exactly, that's When those 3 circles begin to overlap, you're getting closer to discovering your unique contribution. Every morning this week, ask yourself these 5 questions before looking at your phone. 1. What's the most important thing I can do today? If I complete only one meaningful task, what should it be? Focus on building a daily discipline. Who do I want to become? What's one habit moving me closer to that person?
Daily gratitude.
What's one distraction I need to remove today?
Social media.
Notice something. These questions aren't about perfection. They're about direction.
Motivation is emotional. Commitment is intentional. Motivation says, I'll do it because I feel inspired. Commitment says, I'll do it because it's important. If your progress depends entirely on motivation, your results will fluctuate with your emotions. But when your actions are rooted in commitment, you continue even when enthusiasm fades. That's where transformation happens. There's a story often told about the bamboo tree. For years after it's planted, almost nothing appears above the ground. Someone passing by might assume nothing is happening, but underground, the roots are spreading, strengthening, and preparing to support future growth. Then, once that foundation is ready, the bamboo grows rapidly in a remarkably short time. Whether every detail of that story is exact isn't the point. The lesson is, sometimes your greatest season of visible growth is only possible because of years of invisible preparation. Don't despise seasons where the roots are growing. Those seasons often determine how high you'll eventually stand. Before we move into the next section, here's your challenge. Don't change 10 things this week. Choose one habit, one conversation, one skill, one relationship, one financial decision, one health decision, one act of courage. Then ask yourself every evening, did I do my one more today? Not was I perfect, not did I accomplish everything, simply, did I take one intentional step toward the person I want to become? If you can honestly answer yes often enough, you're already changing your future.
That's powerful. Finding your one more gives you direction. But direction alone isn't enough. The real challenge is staying consistent long after the excitement wears off. In the next part, we'll explore why habits fail, why motivation disappears, and how to build routines that continue working even on the days you don't feel like trying. Because your future isn't determined by what you do occasionally. As we wrap up today's episode, we want to thank every one of you for spending your valuable time with us. In a world full of noise and distractions, the fact that you chose to listen means more than you know. We hope today's conversation didn't just inspire you, it challenged you to think differently, take action, and become the best version of yourself. Remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens through the small decisions you make every single day. If something from today's discussion resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. You never know, the conversation you pass along today could become the turning point in someone else's life. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. We'd also love to hear from you, so leave us a comment, a review, or send us your thoughts. Your stories and feedback help shape future conversations.
Until next time, keep believing in your purpose, keep showing up even when it's difficult, and never underestimate the power of one more step, one more effort, and one more decision to change your life. From all of us here at Honorable Podcast, thank you for listening.
Stay inspired, stay focused, stay blessed. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.